Hey, it's hockey season. So what am I gonna do today is we're gonna do a PSA reveal of a giant football card order that I got back from PSA. So in here you'll find about 80 cards, we'll call them vintage football, ranging from 1976 up to a couple from like 1988, which I don't even remember having in the collection, much less submitting, but it should be a fun reveal. Lots of great cards. The more I think about the grades, I think I would say the grades are decent, but judge for yourself and let me know what you think. Here we go. Let's get all these babies lined up like good little soldiers. 4 full boxes and one not so full. In case you're wondering, I know you are, right? This order was submitted. There's a $10 per card grading fee, okay? This order was submitted on, it was submitted basically in October of last year, got checked into PSA's system on January 21st. It was due on March 26th. So I guess they're a little behind. Well done, PSA. You got my cards back to me in less than a year. All right, so let me just say, if you are a Cowboys fan or a Steelers fan from back in the day, you're gonna absolutely love this reveal. And you know what? If you're a football fan, you're gonna love it too. So here goes nothing. We'll start this off with, like you saw, the smiling face of Cliff Harris. An incredibly tough card to get in a high grade, and for obvious reasons, because they're all miscut pretty poorly. Here's a 7. Here's a 7. And here's what they call an 8. So nice to see Cliff's smiling face in this reveal. So basically, I think you can look at most of these cards and just 99% of them, I think, are cards of Hall of Famers. Here's the NFC Championship from 1976 Topps. The Cowboys beating the hell out of the Rams. Mint 9. How about that? That's impressive. And then we go from Staubach in the Mint 9 to Staubach in a Mint 9. So good work with the Roger Staubach cards. I don't know if you guys recall the PSA 10 that I got on the Walter Payton from 1978, I think it was, or 79, I forget now. But I had gotten a lot of these cards from the same seller. So I was, of course, had high hopes for this particular reveal. Here's a Jack Ham and an 8. I think when you're submitting cards from like 1976, here's a little look at the back of those 1976. Hey, let's guess the mystery Steeler. I was drafted by the Steelers in 1969. I'll see other Steeler cards for more clues. Damn. All right, maybe I'll rethink that and do another video separately on that. Here's a 76 Robert Brazil rookie card, Hall of Famer linebacker, 7.5. This is the first 7.5 I've ever seen. This, again, all these cards in like really high grades sell for really ridiculous dollars. We're moving into 1979, although we will come back and restart at 1976 in a little bit. Here's a Steve Largent in a 7. Steve Largent, somebody I think still does not get nearly enough hobby love. 1980, Randy White in a 6. Not thrilled about that grade. He looks so pissed off. He always looks pissed off. All right. 1980, Walter Payton in a 6. I just love this card. Payton he has all these great cards. Love this card. Kind of like the design. I like the design, with the all pros on them. The back's pretty standard for 1980. All right, continuing 1980, Otis Anderson. I believe this is a rookie, all-pro, in a 7. Yeah, look at that. Had a hell of a first year. 1,605 yards. Good God. Only one guy doing that now. Here's a 1980 Franco Harris. Okay. As you can see, in an 8. We're still in the era where Topps didn't have the license for logos and stuff like that. See, it's really headshots or, you know, odd poses. Here are a couple of art shells in PSA 7s. Getting back into the Steeler mojo. 81 Topps Jack Ham in an 8. Oh, 81 Topps Jack Ham in an 8. There we go. James Lofton, 81 Topps in a 7. Trying to avoid that reflection. I don't know if I'm doing a good job of it. All right, continuing with 81. More Randy White, better in an 8 there. Again, all-pro, cool all-pro banner in this year's cards. And then to finish off this initial box, an 82 Topps Walter Payton, pretty off-center with some soft corners in a 6. I guess they must have gotten the license in 82. I wonder if is that the right timeline, folks? You'll have to let me know. Okay. This next box, I think, is kind of like what? Continues 82. I think we go out through well into the mid-80s. Here's a Jack Lambert. Look at that. You can see he has missing a couple of teeth. All-Pro, 1982 Topps in a 7. Now into 83. Pretty weak design, if you ask me. 1983 Tony Dorsett in an 8. Now I got the, now we're into 84 Topps, which is definitely one of my favorite designs ever. Probably is for most of you if you collect vintage football. Here's a couple of Dan Marinos. Here's an 8, 6. The 6 is pretty obvious, or it's, I mean, you got this like the surface issue, like print smudges and stuff there. Plus it being pretty well off center if you look at the top to bottom. I think, you know, when I've looked at some of these clunkers that were out there, I've looked at just to make sure I knew why these got horrific grades. We haven't gotten to those yet. Here's an Eric Dickerson rookie, my favorite running back. One of these days, I'm going to rock the Eric Dickerson jersey for you from 8th grade. I think I can still squeeze into it. It won't look great, but it'll be fun. 85 Topps, Howie Long in a 7. These things are just freaking impossible to get anything but like a 7 and an 8 on, if you're lucky. I think we're going to see some 6s coming up. 86 Walter Payton, record breaker. I like that. His most consecutive games, 100 or more yards rushing in an 8. We'll stay in 1986 for the legend, Bernie Kosar. Here's, we got an 8 and a 7. His rookie card. No Jerry Rice in this particular order, FYI. Here's an 87 Topps Randall Cunningham. I always enjoy this guy. In a 7. Look at that. Up into, it said 88. Here's 89. Troy Aikman, the #1 pick from Pro Set in an 8. Pretty well off center, left to right. So yeah, I think the rest of the card's almost perfect. So 8 makes sense. All right, we're back into 1976. Here's a Fred Bolitnikov in an 8. In 1976, this design, for whatever reason, the football with the team name in it, I am a total sucker for these cards. And I think, you know, a lot of these pictures are, players seem kind of happy in it. Not this one, Curly Culp, he's miserable. There's an 8 and a 7, again, Hall of Fame defensive tackle, time with the Oilers. I don't know if he played with anybody else. Probably should do some research before I start rambling on. Look at how happy Harvey Martin looks, right? Harvey Martin, Cowboys in an 8. Guy who, I mean, how many punters do you see get slabbed up? Or kickers, for that matter. We have one kicker coming up. A little foreshadowing. Here's Ray Guy in an 8, All-Pro. Here comes a bit of a, I believe, a run with the Steelers. I hated the Steelers back in the day, but, you know, here's Terry Bradshaw in an 8 and a 7. It kind of looks exactly like he looks today, right? Pretty much, minus a little hair. Those cards were, I was happy with this next round of grades, you know, on the 76 tops. Here's a Franco Harris in an 8. All right, next box. Doing this Elite Code 3 style. Hear me pull the stuff out of the boxes as we go. I don't know. Of course, his cards are generally like, you know, $1,000 each. These, we'll be lucky to get 1,000 pesos each. Here's a 76 Lynn Swan. I'm looking at you, John Mangini. Hope he's watching. Here's a 7. Told you we had, if you were a Steeler fan, you were going to enjoy this, or a Cowboy fan. Hey, a Viking snuck in there, Alan Page, a beast in the Purple People Eaters. There's an 8. Let's see, we got a couple of Randy Whites showing up. This is a Randy White rookie in an 8 and a 7. Again, these cards in like 10 sell for amazing, crazy grades. I'm not sure why, if you kind of look at this one, you can see you got all kinds of little streaks. I don't know if that's a surface issue or a photo issue, but you can see totally different than this one that's nice and crisp and clear. There's a Jack Lambert from 1976 that got a 5. I was looking this one over and I didn't see anything obvious, although and you're not going to be able to see it here, but there was what could be a teeny weeny wrinkle. So I'm not sure where, I mean, other than, I mean, maybe, you tell me. I mean, it's way off left to right, but does that warrant a 5 at that level? I don't know. I definitely have a lot of learning to do. Here's a Joe Theismann, right, which I thought was a really nice card, right? Again, off left to right, pretty well centered up and, you know, top to bottom. Definitely thought it was better than a 3, but this one I did look at, and you can see a couple of, I'm gonna see if I can get the camera to pick them up. I can't. There are a couple of very light creases down the middle. Nothing that, you know, again, I would have seen with the naked eye, but the surface on this card was pretty bad. All right, back in the saddle, Mean Joe Green in an 8, much better. It's a little Kenny Stabler in a 7. It's a fun card. I like the picture and the fact that, you know, hey, he's a lefty quarterback. Had a lot of success in the league. Yeah, that doesn't happen very often. Larry Zonka from his days on the Giants in an 8. How many of you remember Larry Zonka on the Giants and not just only on the Dolphins? I would raise my hand to that initially. Fran Tarkenton in a 7. He's another guy who actually started with the Giants, but I only remember him on the Vikings. See, look at how happy he looks, right? With these other guys, they all look pretty happy when they're on their 1976 cards. Here's a 77 Walter Payton in a 7. 7's a wild. 77 Payton in a 7. I like the, I mean, this design was always one of my favorite with the All-Pro banner, the 1,000-yarder. It's great. And the fact that they had the stats vertical as opposed to horizontal. Okay, here's a problem. 1978. This 1978 Walter Payton didn't work out as well as the other 1978 Walter Payton. I mean, this one is way off left to right. It has the same issue that the Joe Theismann had and I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera. Over here, there are a couple of, they're not really creases, but you can see the surface is, I don't know if you can kind of see it. The surface has a couple of light wrinkles going down it. So the 3 makes sense. Gotta look closer on these. Here's a 78 Zonka, again with the Giants, and a 5. I didn't look at this one closer, but I think there is there's a little bit of a surface issue there. Bitten by the surface issues, yet again. Granted, I submitted these a year ago. You know, my eye is quite different than it was back then, but all right, 78 Topps Dave Casper in an 8. Very cool. And then, holy crap, a Jet card has been graded. Joe Klecko in a 9. The best card of this order. Well, one of them. So we only got a few 9s. There's Roger Staubach from 78 in a 7. Going back to 79, Mean Joe Green in a 7. '79, Dan Fouts in an 8. And then a 1980 Topps, Jack Ham. I think there's another one of these coming up, we'll see, in the next box. All right. One more full box to go. One box that only has like 3 or 4 cards in it. Oh no, no Jack Ham. Oh, it's another Walter Payton, 1980. This one in an 8, much better off. Better than the prior 6. That's a good looking card, actually. And yet, did you ever have Deja Vu, 1980, Otis Anderson in an 8. So I think this second wave of cards are the ones I got from the same seller that, you know, where we got that amazing Walter Payton score. There's a Terry Bradshaw, 1980 Topps in an 8. Sipping on a little Gatorade. 1980 Jack Lambert, 8. Jack Lambert had some really cool pictures and cards. I don't know if it's because he's like tall and lanky for a linebacker. He always just seems to photograph well. Here's an 80 Topps Clay Matthews in an 8. Yeah, folks. He was Clay Matthews Jr. of the Packers was not the first Clay Matthews in the world here. Steve Largent, 1980 in a 9. This is a pretty lame card with the helmet that's all silver, but you know, it is Largent. He is a Hall of Famer, a legend, a senator, an all-around good dude. Dan Fouts in an 8 from 1980. So the 1980 cards in this round basically all came back in an 8. Get rid of that. Okay, now we jump ahead to 85. I don't know, we'll see what we think of the success here. Morton Anderson, number 7 in a 7, number 7 in an 8. We got a 7 and an 8. I think anytime you get an 8 on these 85 cards, you did well. If you get a 9 or a 10, which I don't think I ever have, you should be really celebrating. There's a Carl Banks rookie in an 8. Doesn't get enough love. He is not, like I said, 99% Hall of Famers in this order. He is not a Hall of Famer. I think you can argue that he probably should be. John Elway in an 8. I happen to really like the design of this year and the horizontal cards. They are not for everybody, but yeah, I definitely always enjoyed them. Here's Ray Guy in an 8. Our friend Howie Long appears again in a 7. We just can't buy a Howie Long in this card in an 8. All 7s. Second year Dan Marino in an 8. All right. 1986, the Fridge, William Perry, rookie in a 7. Can't argue with that. Between the centering, looks like it tilted. Got a little print mark there. The 7 might not be too bad. Ooh, sorry, 1989 score, Barry in an 8. This one was out of my personal collection from, 30 years ago, sitting in my parents' basement. I was, and then the fact that that came back in 8 is we're gonna call it a small victory. Because that could have, number one, just been a lot worse from a chipping perspective. Number two, it's pretty well centered, which is not exactly common for all those cards. All right, last box. We have 4 Thurman Thomas cards and 1 card that wasn't slabbed. I mean, yes, I did. I was trimming this Michael Irvin card in the hopes of getting a 10. But you see, I did a crappy job trimming it. I trimmed the left side instead of trimming the right side. Obviously, I'm kidding, but who the hell knows how they, how many cards they actually measure. Why that one came back, who the hell knows. But that, unlike some of the others, will not go back to PSA in another order unless they come back with $2 per card grading. Here's an 89 Pro set, Thurman Thomas in an 8. There's not one of those guys in an 8. And then finishing it off for your Bills fans, 1989, Thurman Thomas. One's an 8 and one is a 6. And I would argue, they look very, very similar. I would argue that they put the one that was supposed to be a 6 in the 8 slab and vice versa, because if you, here's the 6, right? I mean, I think we can analyze this really closely, but from this angle, these cards look, I'm going to say, almost identical, unless there's something on the surface over here that I'm not seeing. But it's amateur hour here at Chris's channel, submitting cards from the 1989 with a wax stain on it. But I got to believe that this one was the 6, and that PSA kind of screwed up in their what do you call, control check. Let me know what you think about, should I actually ask for a review of this one? Because I don't see, unless I look at it much closer, I don't see how this one should be a 6. And naturally, we won't highlight their mistake if that's the case here. So I don't know. I'm not the type of guy who typically goes on those types of expeditions and trying to question PSA, but maybe I'll do that with this one. Hope you enjoyed the reveal. See you next time.